Welcome to the podcast of the Coaches Next Door.
This is a podcast for self-coaching, for getting more insights about yourself, others, and the world in mind, body, emotions, behavior, patterns, and results.
Welcome. My name is Licia, and I'm the host of this podcast, The Coaches Next Door. And this podcast is, let's say, a special one. I will say all the podcasters are special, but this one is particularly special because it's the returning. If you follow this podcast, you probably noticed that for more than 6 months, I didn't record any podcast. And that is as a reason, and the motive is that I needed my time. I needed my time from passing this podcast from two voices to one voice. And even if I recorded already some podcasts by myself alone, I realized that was not in a flow, was not going as I wanted. So I stopped. And I stopped it for 6 months, and now it's time to return. Now it's time to come back. And I want to say that what will change in this podcast is exactly the one voice. From now on, this podcast will be only with me, and I will be sharing in this podcast my ideas, but also my experiences. And maybe one point or another, I will have an guest, who knows? But for sure, that guest needs to be someone special and needs to be doing something really special. Otherwise, why? I also want to say that returning in any point on our lives, returning to something that we did before and now we need to do it in a different way, or returning after our holidays, or returning from something that we don't do for a long time. And I always have this image, I ride bikes when I was a child, and I didn't do it for a long time. And when I came to Holland, of course, bike is necessary. And someone told me, if you know how to ride a bike, will be easy because you will be in some maybe minutes or even hours, you will be doing it as always. And I got a little bit suspicious because I was not doing that for really a long time. But the truth is that happened. So I got my bike, I ride my bike for, maybe 10 minutes, and was like, I never stopped. And with the podcast and all this atmosphere is a little bit the same, because I did radio for 10 years, but I don't do radio right now for more than maybe 4 years. But all this suddenly looks very familiar and is also feels like returning to a point that I was happy. I really liked it to do the radio as I like to ride my bike. And this is because our system has extraordinary memory. And this can really help us out, like returning and starting doing something that we didn't do for a long time. And suddenly we are good doing it in a couple of minutes, or can also be our biggest trap, can really take us to places that we don't want to be anymore. But because of that memory, we go instantaneously there. So it's very useful that we recognize the points of our memory that we want to keep and the moments or the memories that we don't want anymore, or at least we want to transform them. And this is possible, even if sometimes people say, "Oh no, this is too deep," and I feel like this is also part of me. It's possible to change memories. It's possible to adapt the memories to something that can serve us. So, what I want to share with you is this idea that even if our system has a memory, and of course, right now we know that memory is not only in this part of our system, is all over. Every cell of our body has memories. We can use this, so being the memories all over our system, to support the change of the impact of those memories. And this is really, really important, because if we want to talk also about freedom, for instance, are we really free if we are replying to these memories? Are we really able to achieve new states if we have this or those memories that really takes us to another moment, another time that doesn't serve our present? So how can we change memories? How can we replace some elements of those memories that we want to limit the impact? It's very simple. If you right now think about a memory that you have, something that you really like, a memory that makes you happy, a memory that takes you to an amazing moment. Think about what is in this memory. I call it the recipe. What is the recipe of this memory? Think about it, or feel it, or even you see it again, or even is a particular smell that will impact you in a different way. So all our memories, they have this recipe. They are made like a good cake or a bad cake. But we are going to focus on the good cake for now, okay? So we are looking for what are the ingredients of this good cake. And you are going to find out that they are really connected with your senses. So the first impact that you get from the external world are your senses. And it's really amazing because, for instance, a studio has a particular smell. You know why? Because we have electricity, and incredibly or not, electricity has a particular smell. And we have some elements like to protect us from the sound, that also some materials, they have a particular smell. And every time that I enter a studio, for instance, I get instantaneously in that mood. It's so incredible. But also, for instance, the elements, the visual elements and the sensations that I have, they come back and they take me immediately to another time, another moment. When you think about this, some elements, some people are a little bit more visual, some people are a little bit more sensitive, so they go a little bit more for the senses. The way you see the world is going to be in that preference. You are going to pay more attention maybe to visuals, you are going to pay attention more to sensations, or you are going to pay attention more to the smells. When you realize where is your point of attention, what you can do is to change that. So if I'm more attached to the visuals, I can say, okay, I'm going to now focus on that memory, on my feelings. And I'm going to change or amplify the feelings that my memory on my visuals also changes. It's playing around with the recipe. And Honestly, this is the good part. Playing around with ourselves. And this idea that don't take yourself too serious and get in touch with your own system and how can you play around with it. I also want to tell you that during this full year and in this podcast, I will give you some ways of playing around with yourself and your own system. Things that are really simple, but they can bring a lot of impact. And this is the beauty, is when you return to a place, when you return to a moment, when you return to a person, when you return to a city, when you return to anything, you can return with the memories that will support what you want. Returning to these podcasts, in some moments didn't look very easy, because it was a moment that I was doing with Peter all the time, and we had a lot of fun doing it. And for some moments, sounded and felt like I will not be able to get that again. And I didn't felt like good, honestly. Didn't brought happiness when I was doing it. So, okay, we need to stop. And I was in need or organizing the recipe in a different way. I knew that I wanted to keep the happiness. I wanted to keep the energy of the podcast. But I also needed to build up that in a different way than before. So then what I did was to all the moments that I had, all the episodes that we recorded before, I went there and with my imagination and my memory, and then I thought, okay, how can I put the elements in these memories that I appreciate? And that was the happiness, the joy, the energy. So I amplified them. I made them bigger. And that is what is allowing that I'm returning to the Coaches Next Door with happiness right now. And I want to do it in a way that is mine, of course, is congruent from what I feel and I want to pass, but at the same time keeps the happiness, the joy, and the energy that you are used to that as well as I am. So this is the returning, and I want you to think about how do you want to return to some places, some things, some tasks, some people, but returning in a way that is the way that will serve you, that is in the way that you feel, I want to be here, I want to be doing this, and I will be doing it as me. Welcome, and I hope you follow us, and I hope I can bring this to you. And this joy and this happiness, and of course sharing some of my experience and my knowledge. So I hope to see you, and I hope that you continue hearing me. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Coaches Next Door, and follow up. We have new episodes coming in, and every month you have a new episode that you can listen to. And remember, you can always share these episodes with someone that you think that could be a benefit or could feel a benefit from these episodes. And we will really like to receive also your comments and your questions. And if you want me to talk about something in particular that will fit you or your needs or your curiosities, please reach out by email, by a message, by a comment. I'm pretty sure you will find your way. Thank you so much, and we hear each other. Take care.